In the spotlight tonight is Sibyl Ruth from Birmingham, a literature development worker. Her specialist subject is the life and works of Wilfred Owen. Allan Cook from West Lothian, an actuary. His is the life and works of Ludwig Wittgenstein. Roy Humphrey from Northumberland, a retired international civil servant, and his subject is unicorns. And Anne Leaney from Uttoxeter, a housewife whose subject is Alexander the Great. Hello, I'm John Humphreys and welcome to Mastermind. It's the same routine, a test of how much our contenders know and how good they are at delivering it under the pressure of the clock. There are two sets of questions, one on their specialist subject and one on general knowledge. The time allowed for each is 2 minutes. So, may I have our first contender, please? And your name is?
Sibyl Ruth.
Your occupation?
Literature development worker.
And your chosen subject?
The life and works of Wilfred Owen.
Wilfred Owen in 2 minutes, starting now. In which French city did Wilfred Owen work from 1913 to 14, teaching English at the Berlitz School?
Bordeaux.
Correct. In Owen's poem, The Parable of the Old Man and the Young, the angel advises Abraham to offer the ram of what instead of his son?
Don't know. Pass.
What was the name of the journal of the Craig Lockhart War Hospital, which Owen edited and which Song of Songs, his first published poem, appeared?
The Hydra.
It was. In Soldier's Dream, who is given all power by God to see to the repairs?
Pass.
In the official citation, what is the name of the section of the Hindenburg Reserve Line at which Owen won his military cross in October 1918?
Pass.
In the poem Beauty, to which philosopher is attributed the idea that the beautiful, the fair, the elegant is that which pleases us?
Shelley.
Kant. Divided into the prologue, the action, the poem and the epilogue, what is the meaning of the military abbreviation and title of Owen's poem SIW?
Self-inflicted wound.
Correct. Which school did Owen attend from 1900 until his family moved to Shrewsbury in 1907?
Birkenhead Technical Institute.
The Birkenhead Institute, yes. Which poem contains the lines, "These are men whose minds the dead have ravished. Memory fingers in their hair of murders, multitudinous murders they once witnessed"?
Mental cases.
Yes. Which friend and future translator of Proust tried to get Owen a home posting as a cadet instructor in 1918?
Charles Scott Moncrief.
Correct. According to the poem The Last Laugh, the bullets chirped in vain, vain, vain. What did the machine guns chuckle?
Pass.
In the poem The End, who declares, "My head hangs weighed with snow"?
Titan.
Age. Which novelist, described as looking like an upstart rodent, did Owen meet while lunching with Robert Ross at the Reform Club in 1917?
Arnold Bennett.
Correct. For the inscription on Owen's gravestone, his mother quoted his poem The End, but removed which 3 words and a question mark from the lines, "Of a truth, all death will he annul"?
Something assuage.
OK, I'll have to tell you, it is "all tears assuage." You had 4 passes. According to the poem The Last Laugh, what the machine guns chuckled was "tut, tut." The official citation, the name of the section, was Fonsom Line. In Soldier's Dream, it was Michael who was given all power by God. And in Owen's poem The Parable of the Old Man and the Young, the angel advises Abraham to offer pride instead of his son. 4 passes, Sibyl Ruth, 7 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Allan Cook.
Your occupation?
Actuary.
And your chosen subject?
The life and works of Ludwig Wittgenstein.
In 2 minutes, starting now, in which department at the University of Manchester did Wittgenstein become a research student in 1908?
Aeronautics and engineering.
Engineering. Wittgenstein dedicated his Tractatus to which close friend and travelling companion killed in an air accident in 1918?
David Vincent.
Correct. Wittgenstein and Paul Engelmann designed and built a house in Vienna for Wittgenstein's sister. On which street does it stand?
Kundemangasse.
Correct. The pupil and friend of Wittgenstein, which English philosopher translated philosophical investigations into English?
Elizabeth Anscombe.
Correct. At which London hospital did Wittgenstein serve as a dispensary porter for a period during the Second World War?
Guys.
Yes. Which Viennese satirical writer and editor of Die Fackel, or The Torch, influenced Wittgenstein's view of language?
Karl Kraus.
Yes. Wittgenstein opens the Brown Book and Philosophical Investigations by quoting a passage from whose Confessions?
St. Augustine.
Yes. Upon Wittgenstein's return to Cambridge in 1929, which celebrated economist and long-term friend wrote, "Well, God has arrived. I met him on the 5:15 train."
J.M. Keynes.
Yes. With which question does Wittgenstein begin the so-called Blue Book?
Pass.
Which British library contains the bulk of Wittgenstein's manuscripts and papers, including the so-called Big Typescript?
The Wren Library at Cambridge.
Yes. According to Proposition 6.3 of the Tractatus, outside logic, everything is what?
Accidental.
Yes. Which Austrian expressionist poet asked Wittgenstein to visit him in a Krakow hospital in 1914, but died of an overdose shortly before Wittgenstein reached the city?
Trackle.
Correct. The group of logical positivists, led by Moritz Schlick, who adopted Wittgenstein's Tractatus as one of their key texts, was generally known by what name?
The Vienna Circle.
Yes, in 1926, after working as a school teacher, Wittgenstein spent a short time as an assistant gardener at a monastery in which suburb of Vienna?
Hütteldorf.
Correct. Who was the German mathematician whose theory of meta-mathematics was, I've started so I shall finish, was rejected by Wittgenstein in various recorded notes and lectures?
Hilbert.
Hilbert it was. You had one pass. The question that begins the Blue Book is, what is the meaning of a word? You've scored, Alan Cook, 14 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Roy Humphrey,
And your occupation?
retired international civil servant.
And your chosen subject?
Unicorns.
Unicorns, 2 minutes starting now. The first mention of unicorns in Greek literature comes from which 5th century Greek physicians claim that they lived in India?
Ctesias of Cnidus.
Correct. In his Gallic Wars, Caesar describes the unicorn as one of the denizens of which forest?
The Hyrcanian forest.
Correct. Said to have been seen in China as far back as 2697 BC. By what name was the unicorn known there?
The Keelin.
Yes, in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, who inhabits the body of Quirrell and forces him to drink unicorn's blood in the Forbidden Forest in order to stay alive?
Pass.
What were the objects bearing sailors' initials and thought to be unicorn horns that were found in the Pool of Corpses, a marsh on the coast of Iceland?
Narwhal tusks.
Yes, whale's teeth. In which book of the King James Version of the Bible are the words, "Canst thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow, or will he harrow the valleys after thee"?
Job.
Yes, in which work written between the 2nd and 4th centuries AD does it first state that a unicorn dies when it lays its head in the lap of a virgin?
The Physiologus.
Correct. The title character of which Shakespeare play speaks the line, "Wert thou the unicorn, pride and wrath would confound thee"?
Pass.
In which 12th century Bible, now in the British Library, is the capture of the unicorn shown on the same page as the Nativity?
Pass.
Which religious assembly of 1563 forbade the use of unusual imagery in Christian art, leading to the decline of the unicorn as a religious symbol?
The Council of Trent.
Correct. Which 13th century French writer in the Bestiaire d'Amour interpreted the unicorn as symbolising the lover beguiled by the Virgin?
Robert de Boron.
No, Richard de Furnivall, whose painting The Triumph of the Duchess of Urbino shows her cart being pulled by 2 unicorns?
Pass.
The 12th century nun St Hildegard of Bingham thought that an ointment of unicorn's liver and egg yolks was valuable for clearing which disease?
Leprosy.
Correct. Which Danish zoologist and antiquarian, in his dissertation of 1638, proved that unicorn horns, I'll finish the question, were really the tusks of the narwhal?
Olav Worm.
Correct. You had 4 passes there. The painting was by Piero della Francesca. You nearly said it. The 12th century Bible we were looking for was the Floreth Bible. It was Timon of Athens, who was the title character in that Shakespeare play, and Lord Voldemort in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. You had those 4 passes, Roy Humphrey. You have 9 points. And our fourth contender, please. And your name is?
Anne Leaney,
Your occupation?
housewife.
And your chosen subject?
Alexander the Great.
In 2 minutes, starting now, what was the name of Philip of Macedon's last wife put to death, possibly by order of Olympius, after the accession of Alexander?
Cleopatra.
Yes, which people's oath of loyalty to Alexander was provisional upon the sky not falling, the earth not opening, and sea not rising?
Sparta.
Celts. Which Danubian people whose king was Sirmus submitted to Alexander in 335?
The Getae.
The Tribali. The river Hydaspes, on whose banks Alexander defeated Porus, has what generally agreed modern name?
Bias.
Jalum. Which general was killed at Ecbatana by Alexander's men shortly after his son Philotas had been executed for treason?
Parmenio.
Correct. Into which desert region, whose capital was Pura, did Alexander lead his army in 325 with near disastrous results?
Gedrosia.
Correct. What is the modern name of the city that's been generally identified with Alexandria in Aria?
Erbil.
No, Herat. On which plain did the army encamp after the crossing of the Hellespont while Alexander visited Athene's sanctuary at Ilium?
Pass.
Which Egyptian oasis did Alexander visit in order to consult the oracle of Ammon?
Siwa.
Correct. Which historian was believed to have been a motivator of the Pages conspiracy and was arrested as a result of its discovery?
Aristander.
Callisthenes, later killed by Erigius, which satrap of Araya was probably one of 2 murderers of Darius III?
Bessus.
Satybarzanes, which Cretan-born naval commander is one of the main sources for Arrian's life of Alexander?
Memnon of Rhodes.
Nearchus. In which city did Alexander trap Clytus, son of Bardilius, only to be surprised and almost to be trapped himself by the Taulantians?
Ecbatana.
No, Pelium. At the surrender of which natural fortress did Alexander... I've started, so I shall finish. At the centre of which natural fortress did Alexander capture Roxana, the daughter of the garrison commander Osiates?
The Sogdian Rock.
Sogdian Rock is correct. You had 1 pass there. The plain on which the army encamped was the Arisbe. 1 pass, and Leaney, 5 points. So that brings us to the end of our first round, the specialist subjects. Let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 5 is Anne Leaney. 3rd place with 7, Sibyl Ruth. 2nd place with 9, Roy Humphrey. In the lead with 14 points, Allan Cook. On to round 2 now, the general knowledge round, and if there's a tie at the end of this round, then the number of passes will be taken into account, and the contender with the fewest passes will be the winner. So let's get on with the general knowledge round, and first, Anne Leaney, if she joins us again, please. And you chose Alexander the Great, which is a big subject in every sense, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
And you think he was the greatest of all the generals of all time, including Napoleon? And...
Yes, I think he was probably.
Was he a god? I mean,
He
that's to
thought
say,
he
did he
was.
think he was a god?
Yes, he thought he was divine, and I'm sure that's why he was so omnipotent.
He lived a very short life,
Yes, 32.
achieved all that, and died at 32. But in a
Yes.
sense, didn't, well, regret his death. Who knows if you think you're a god, whether you regret your death or not. But he said something
Yeah.
interesting about his death, didn't he, about his life?
Better a short life of glory than a long one of obscurity.
And glory there was in plenty.
Indeed.
Well, you scored 5 points with your knowledge of him, and let's see how you do with your general knowledge, starting now. 2 minutes. What colour flag does the EU award for clean beaches?
Blue.
Correct. Jean Nicot, a 16th century French diplomat, gave his name to which organic compound?
Tobacco.
Nicotine. What was the name of the Austrian governor who ordered William Tell to shoot an apple from his son's head with a crossbow?
Gessler.
Correct. What means of execution was used for the last time at Beaumet Prison, Marseille, on the 10th of September 1977?
Guillotine.
Correct. In human biology, what is the more common name for the scapula?
Shoulder blade.
Yes. Lucy Honeychurch is the heroine of which novel by E.M. Forster, later made into an Oscar-nominated film?
A room with a view.
Yes. Enniskillen is the county town of which county in Northern Ireland?
Fermanagh?
Yes. Which birds are classified as dabbling when they feed near the water's surface and diving when they feed on the bottom of lakes and rivers?
Pass.
In which battle of the First World War did tanks first play a major role?
Cambrai?
Correct. Which play by Terence Rattigan was based on the true case of George Archer Shee, expelled from Osborne Naval College for petty theft?
The Winslow Boy?
Yes. Which Swedish scientist spent Christmas Day 1741 devising the centigrade temperature scale?
Celsius?
Yes. Which Greek wine has the resin of the Aleppo pine added as a preservative and flavouring?
Retsina?
Yes. First performed in Prague in 1791, what was the title of Mozart's last opera?
Pass.
Which public school moved from the City of London to Godalming in Surrey in 1872?
Charterhouse?
Yes. Which Japanese word was originally applied to the divine wind, which scattered Kublai Khan's invasion fleet in 1274 and again in 1281?
Kamikaze?
Yes. Alexander Haig and George Shultz both held which major government post during Ronald Reagan's presidency?
Secretary of State?
Yes. Finally completed in 1547, the chapel of which Cambridge College is a notable example of the perpendicular style of Gothic architecture?
King's College?
Yes. What in his latter-day... I've started, so I shall finish. What in his latter-day pamphlets of 1850 did Thomas Carlyle refer to as the dismal science?
Pass.
It was economics. And you had two other passes. The Mozart opera was The Clemency of Titus, La Clemencia di Tito, and the birds, you'll kick yourself for this, ducks. However, you did very, very well in that round. 3 passes, you had 5 points, you now have 19 points. And now Sibyl Ruth, please. And I'm intrigued to know what a literature development worker does.
We develop literature.
Well, ask a stupid question, yes. How do you develop literature? It's there. What do you have to do to develop it?
It doesn't just come from nowhere. You organise creative writing courses, you invite writers to come and visit, poets, storytelling. You just make literature exciting, because a lot of people were turned off it at school.
Not a lot of people will know this. You were the poet laureate for Birmingham.
That's right, yes.
And did you write some wonderful poems?
Of course. I wrote some poems about Spaghetti Junction. I wrote some poems about Birmingham's Outer Ring Road and the number 11 bus route. I mean, whenever people asked me to write poems, particularly if they offered me money, I did.
Well, 7 points with Wilfred Owen. Let's see how you do with general knowledge. 2 minutes starting now. A statue of which British tennis player stands near the Wimbledon gates which bear his name?
Pass.
Which Republican socialist was appointed Master of the Queen's Music in March 2004, succeeding Malcolm Williamson?
Pass.
Which 74 film is the only sequel to have won a Best Picture Oscar?
The Godfather, Part 2.
Correct. Which future Prime Minister entered Parliament in 1979 as the MP for Huntingdon?
John Major.
Yes. In which city was the Belgrade, the first new British theatre to be built since the Second World War, opened in 1958?
Coventry.
A candle, yes. A candle surrounded by barbed wire is the symbol of which organisation?
Amnesty International.
Yes. Which flowers were the subject of Claude Monet's series of paintings entitled Nymphaeas, which he painted from the late 1800s until his death in 1926?
Water lilies.
Yes. Bizet's opera Carmen, De Molina's Don Juan and Mozart's Marriage of Figaro are all set in which city?
Madrid.
Seville. In a traditional English pack of playing cards, what does the King of Diamonds hold in his right hand?
Cauliflower.
A hatchet. About which fellow artist did John Constable write, "He seems to paint with tinted steam, so evanescent and so airy"?
It's not Stubbs.
It's Turner. Which breed of horse derives its name from the place near Trieste where the former Austrian imperial stud was situated?
Pass.
What name is given to the granular leather which can be made from the skin of a shark?
Pass.
In Greek mythology, what is the name of the beautiful youth who succeeded Hebe as cupbearer to the gods?
Adonis.
No, Ganymede. Which Rodgers and Hammerstein musical features Ado Annie singing I Can't Say No?
Annie, get your gun.
Oklahoma. Which former world heavyweight boxing champion was killed in an air crash on 31st of August 1969, the day before his 46th birthday?
Pass.
What was the former name of the island of Taiwan?
Pass.
In chemistry, what French word is used for a calibrated glass tube for transferring measured amounts of liquids?
It's not a pipette.
It is a pipette.
Oh, wow.
There we are. You did say it wasn't, but I will give you it because you've got it. So there we are. 6 passes there. It was Taiwan used to be Formosa. Rocky Marciano was the boxer who was killed. Shagreen, the name of the granular leather made from a shark skin. Lipizzaner, the name of those horses. Peter Maxwell, the man who became master of the Queen's music. And Fred Perry stands near the Wimbledon gates. Sibyl Ruth, you had 7 points. You now have 13 points. And now Roy Humphrey, if he would join us, please. And although I have other things to ask you, I am riveted by what you've got on your hand there. I assume it is dead, is it?
Oh, yes.
That's slightly reassuring. What is it?
A wombat.
It's a wombat, right. And it's a mascot of some sort, I take it.
Well, I'm his mascot.
You're his
He
mascot?
takes me everywhere.
I see. Right, OK. Well, I'm glad we've settled that. Right. And it got you, or your knowledge got you 9 points on unicorns. It's odd, isn't it, that we are still intrigued by the unicorn?
Yes, indeed. And they are beautiful creatures,
Yes,
even though they don't exist.
even though they don't exist. They're beautiful in our imagination. Right, well, you had 9 points with unicorns. Let's see how you do with general knowledge, starting now. What name is given to the line running across the full width of a tennis court at each of its ends?
The balk.
The baseline. Which current political party founded in Britain in 1973 was originally called People and later the Ecology Party?
The Green Party.
Yes, which 1951 film musical starred Catherine Grayson as the daughter of a riverboat captain who married gambler Gaylord Ravenel, played by Howard Keel?
Guys and dolls.
Showboat. Which name for a marble probably comes from the word alabaster, from which they were originally made?
Pass.
Which of Dickens' novels centres on the fortunes of Richard Carston and his cousin Ada Clare, who are wards of the court in the case of Jarndyce and Jarndyce?
Bleak House.
Yes. Mus musculus is the scientific name for which rodent?
The mouse.
Yes. Hercules' 12th labour was to capture which dog that guarded the gates of the underworld?
Cerberus.
Yes. In heraldry, what term is used for the colour red?
Gules.
Yes. Which former footballer with Tranmere and crew became chief executive of the Football Association in July 2003?
Robbie Robson.
Mark Palios. Which Texas city is named after the man who was Vice President of America from 1845 to 49?
Houston.
Dallas. The meteorologist Tetsui Fujita, who died in November 1998, devised the scale named after him to measure the strength of which type of storm?
Pass.
Which King of England died of a shoulder wound while besieging the castle of Chalus, or Chalut, in France in 1199?
Richard I.
Yes. In which ballet by Tchaikovsky does Odette have an evil double named Odile?
Swan Lake.
Yes. Which word derives from the French for a straw mattress?
Pallias.
Yes. Who in US presidential elections successively beat Herbert Hoover, Alfred Landon, Wendell Willkie and Thomas Dewey?
Roosevelt.
Which one?
Franklin Delano.
Yes. In which film is Brian Cohen mistakenly hailed as the Messiah? I'll finish the question. As the Messiah by a trio of not-so-wise men.
The Life of Brian.
It was indeed Monty Python's Life of Brian. 2 passes there, Roy Humphreys. It was the tornado that was measured by the scale devised by the Japanese meteorologist, and the name for the marble that comes from the word alabaster. We called them it when I was a youngster. Alley. You had 9 points before you began. You now have, Roy Humphrey, 19 points. And now Allan Cook, if you join us again, please. And 14 points with your knowledge of Wittgenstein, the greatest philosopher of the 20th century.
I think Wittgenstein was hailed as a genius amongst geniuses. I think by the age of 24, Bertrand Russell, who was one of the leading European philosophers at the time, acknowledged that he had nothing more to teach him. And by the time he took the chair at the professorship at Cambridge, again, it was acknowledged that if they hadn't given him the chair, it would be like withholding the chair in physics from Einstein. he was held in that degree of regard.
General knowledge. You had 14 points. Let's see how many you get with your general knowledge. What name is given to the curved bottom pan used for stir-frying in Chinese cookery?
A wok.
Yes. To which island was Napoleon exiled from April 1814 until March 1815?
Elba.
Yes. Which ancient city was situated near the banks of the river Scamander in northwestern Anatolia?
Troy.
Yes. In March 2004, which horse became the first since Arkle in the 60s to win the Cheltenham Gold Cup 3 years running?
Best mate.
Yes. Diva, derived from the Latin castra divana, meaning camp on the Dee, is the Roman name for which English city?
Chester.
Yes. Which disease caused by the herpes zoster virus can affect adults who have had chicken pox as children?
Shingles.
Yes. Which German arms designer produced a successful magazine rifle in the 1890s, which became the standard weapon of the German army and which was widely copied around the world?
Krupp.
Mauser. The Long Min, the Lawley and Caer Caradog are all hills in which county?
Gloucestershire.
Shropshire. Which classic 1984 television drama series was based on Paul Scott's 4 novels, The Raj Quartet?
Pass.
In 10-pin bowling, what term is used for the knocking down of all 10 pins with the first 2 balls in a frame?
Spare.
Yes. Which horror film actor who died in October 93 played the eccentric inventor in Edward Scissorhands, one of his last major film roles?
Vincent Price.
Yes. Which African country has Kinshasa as its capital?
Zaire.
Yes, Democratic Republic of the Congo. Which British general was killed at the siege of Khartoum by the Mahdi's forces?
General Gordon.
Yes. Which writer published her first successful novel for adults, Jumping the Queue, when she was over 70?
Pass.
George and James Lovelace were the leaders of which group of farm labourers who were transported to Australia for forming a trade union?
Tall Paddle Martyrs.
Yes. By what name are cowboys known in the pampas of South America?
Gauchos.
Yes. God does not play dice is Einstein's frequently quoted reaction. I've started, so I shall finish. To which theory of physics?
Heisenberg's uncertainty principle.
Correct. You had 2 passes. The writer, who started when she was over 70, was Mary Wesley, and the Raj Quartet became the jewel in the crown. Allan Cook, you had 14 points. You now have a total of 27. So, at the end of that round, the end of the contest, let's look at the scores. In 3rd place with 13 points is Sibyl Ruth. Joint 2nd place with 19 points are Roy Humphrey and Anne Leaney. In 1st place, a clear lead, 27 points, Allan Cook. Which means, of course, that Allan Cook goes through to the next round and moves a step closer, perhaps, to becoming our Mastermind champion. Congratulations to him. Please join us next time for more Masterminds. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Looking at the life and death decisions made by surgeons on the operating table, Horizon's How to Avoid Mistakes in Surgery is tonight at 9. And next, we're live in Canterbury for the Archbishop's enthronement.